Last month we learned how to use Diigo in order to save your own bookmarks. We learned that you could save them publicly. These are my public bookmarks, or privately. These have a little lock on so that I know that they're personal private bookmarks. We also learned how to join a group, and the group that we joined was called RCAN Shared. When I get to my groups page, I can find RCAN Shared and give it a click. And we learned that when we're looking at the RCAN Shared group, we can see what people have bookmarked by title, by link, and by comment. And as people are looking at the links, others can give it a like, just like any social space, or add comments to the links. But we can do a little bit more as well. You'll notice that as each of us has joined, we've chosen a user ID, and we might want to follow those people. I've shared a Google Doc at tinyurl.com/RCANDIIGO. As always, I make this a tiny URL so that it might be easier to find. Once it comes up on the screen, you have two options. You could absolutely bookmark it in Diigo, or you could choose to save it in your Google Docs, and I'll show you how to do that. Once the spreadsheet opens up, if you have your Diigo extension, you can give that a click and save it. Remember, this is the title of your link that will be appearing in Diigo. These are the words that you're giving yourself to remember why you'd save this, and these are the different tags that you chose to use. And then once you hit save, it will be saved. In this list are each of the schools by county, by tech integrator name, and if there's multiple tech integrators, you'll see it goes across a little bit, and then next to their actual name is the username that they chose to use in Diigo. So as I look down the list, I see Barbara McCarthy uses B-E-L McCarthy as her username. In order to get to it in Diigo, I type diigo.com/user, USER/BEL McCarthy. And as long as I'm clicked on the library link, you're going to see her top tags. You can view all her tags. And then each of the links that she's kept as open sites that she's saved. So if I'm looking at her links, I might be interested in finding out a little bit about Nikki Robertson's Tech Flyers on Some More. I'll give that a click, and it takes me from Barbara's links to that website. And as I look at it, I may decide that this is something that would be really useful for me to have for myself. And if it is, once again, I can click my Diigo Chrome extension, hit the Save button, and say these are some flyers I'd like to take a look at for technology tips. And I'm going to tag this as tech integration, tech training, and I'm not going to share it to our group. I'll click save, and now that becomes part of my Diigo list. So that's one way that we can take a look at somebody else's bookmarks. I'm going to go back to the RCAN Diigo Google Sheet. You'll also notice at the very bottom there's two tabs. One says RCAN and one says Outside RCAN. What I've also done is I've found a list of 31 people that I follow on Diigo who are somewhere out in the world. I've given you their name, the link to their Diigo ID, where in the world they are, and what their educational focus is based on either their Diigo or Twitter or Facebook profile. So if I wanted to see what Vicki Davis has recently bookmarked, I can click on her profile and go there. it takes me to her profile, but what I'd like to do is look at her library. And so we can see 4 ways to back up your files and 22 productivity hacks for a small business. So I may find something that she has that's rather interesting, or perhaps what she's done lately isn't too interesting to me. So I'll go back over to Diigo and take a look at another person, and I'll take a look at this person, Anne from Australia. Let's see what she's been doing lately. I'm going to go to her bookmark and clip grab, free YouTube downloader. I'm not sure if I've ever saved this one, so that sounds interesting. I'm going to bookmark that, free YouTube downloader, and I'll tag this as YouTube and download and save that. Now I can keep coming back and forth to this Diigo group, or if I find these people really valuable, I can make them part of my learning network. I'm going to go back to my library, and we've talked about my groups. We're going to look at Discover now, and I'm going to show you my network. So I'm going to go to Discover and my network, and what it does is it shows you that I follow 104 people, and it will show me what the people I follow are most recently bookmarking. And so I don't have to keep going back to that RCAN Diigo spreadsheet. I can just simply follow them. And I'll give you an example of following somebody. So Marlo Gaddis is somebody I've been following for a good long time. I'm going to click on her name, and I'm going to take a look at who she follows. She follows 29 people. And let's see. One of the people that she follows is Steve Dembo. He is somebody who is in the Discovery Education Network. And it looks like he still uses Diigo from time to time. The last time he bookmarked was back in February. And you'll notice up top it says follow me. So I'm going to give that a click. And now I'm following Steve Dembo. I can add him to a friends list. I don't really use that. I'm going to close that out. And now anytime I go to Discover in my network, if Steve ends up posting something and I happen to look at my network, I'll see it there. I'll be honest, I don't spend a lot of time looking at my network, but from time to time, if I have nothing particularly keeping me occupied and I'm curious about what people are finding important and timely, I'll come here to my network. Finally, I mentioned that I would show you 2 ways to save this list. The first would be to bookmark it in Diigo. And if I go over to my RCAN tab, you'll see with this little red line that I have already bookmarked this. I could also say File, make a copy. And what this does is it takes it from my set of of Google Docs, and saves a copy into the Google Doc account that I'm signed into at the moment. So that could be a very easy way to get at this, because if I say Diigo user list, when I go back to my Google Drive, I'll find a file there that says Diigo user list. And it just becomes a very easy access to the list. And there it is right there.